This is DMP Kenya, and welcome back to Turning the Mirror podcast. And at the hot seat today, we want to look and reflect into what's next for Kenya politics and for Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And we've seen and we all know that he's lost his AUC chairmanship bid, and he's coming back to the country. He did say that whether he wins or loses, the thing that is that he still has a home. He still has a home. And Kenya is his home. He's been in politics for all this time. Welcome, Coach. What can you say about this and what next?
Thank you. Actually, he has even said just today when addressing the press that he'll be coming back home and he has a lot of things to do at home. What I want us to know is that Raila Odinga is a politician and he has spent the better part of his life in politics. And I don't really see Raila Odinga quitting politics. I see a possibility of Raila Odinga coming back home and maybe being silent for quite some time, maybe 2-3 months. And then from there he'll speak. But what I'd tell the people out there is to keenly look at what his trusted foot soldiers like Edwin Sifuna, the likes of Simba Arati, the likes of Anyang' Nyong'o, what they will be speaking, the likes of James Orengo. Because what they will be speaking at the period when Raila Odinga will be silent, that is exactly the stand of Raila Odinga. Again, I'm seeing a possibility of there are two options here. One option is Raila Odinga working with William Ruto, which is not the most likely. Actually, I give that 5%, that Raila Odinga will work with Ruto for the 2027 elections. I give that 5%. It is possible because in politics anything is possible, but I don't see that as the most likely. The most likely is I'm seeing a Raila Odinga who is going to take back his position in the Kenyan politics as the opposition chief and mtetezi wa watu and then position himself better for 2027 elections. Either as a candidate or as someone who will front a candidate. Yes.
You know, people do retire from politics. Is there a possibility that he might retire? Because, you know, you might find out it's necessary or it might be good or bad, and people might be demanding that you come into politics. He has been in politics for all this time. He's been in opposition. He has been vying for presidential bid for being the Kenyan president, and he's always lost. And perhaps otherwise, the things have been happening. Somebody can lose up and can say, let me retire and get back home, maybe advise or maybe build other young people to get into their places and different positions in politics.
That is very possible. Raila Odinga would be coming home with an interest of retiring. But his supporters or fans would not allow him to do that. Because remember, Raila would come home and concentrate on other things, maybe outside politics. We've also seen him say that he is readily available to serve African continent in any other capacity. So it means if the current chair appoints him to serve in any capacity, he'll be willing to do that. Now, what is here is simple. Raila Odinga might come back, maybe eyeing something else. They might agree with the current chair now, maybe to take over some position, maybe the one he was in as the infrastructure special envoy or something else. But the supporters will not allow him to just quit politics. And remember what we've seen happen across the country. We have seen people from Kisumu or Luo Nyanza majority say that we welcome Raila back home, and others were even now started singing Ruto must go. Like they want Raila back and they want Raila in politics. We've seen people of Nyeri, where former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua comes from. They were celebrating Raila'S loss, and they're saying that Raila should come back and join forces with Wamunyoro. I think when they were saying Wamunyoro, they meant Rigathi Gachagua, so that they form the next government. We've seen people across the country. Others are seriously sad because Raila has lost. Others are happy, saying that let Raila come back and help them fight this government, which will even also make you like even laugh, because some of them doing this are the very people who voted in this government, and they want Raila to still come back and again help them fight this government.
You know, it was out of my expectation, because I did expect that if Raila was to fail, people like the persons who yes, they were saying Raila should lose even before the results, especially people from Nyeri and the Mount Kenya region, that perhaps they will be laughing at the Luo nation that they're failures, they're failing, and there is nothing good for them, and they cannot get these positions, they're bound to fail. And I can see that the welcome and what they're saying is all positive.
What I don't know is whether some statements are sarcastic or whether they are meant, because there's one lady who said walisema tusikiwe wa Kabila, kwa hivyo tunamkaribisha nyumbani. I don't know whether that is sarcastic or they are just happy. Others are also celebrating because they feel Raila had a hand in the ouster of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. But we are seeing a possibility of the political terrain, the political sphere, the political space having a drastic shift. Remember, all along the concentration has been on Gachagua and the team, the Azimio team that remained, the Kalonzo, this guy of DAPK, Wamalwa, that squad, that team. A lot of concentration has been there. But I can tell you that when Raila comes back and uses the normal tactic, then we're also going to see a serious shift and people are also going to try to concentrate on him. Again, there's a possibility of the Kenya Kwanza trying to fight back. If at all Raila will be talking against what they are doing or what is happening or the wrongdoings of the government, then there's a possibility of even Ruto himself or his foot soldiers speak badly against Raila. You'd hear statements like, oh, we sponsored his campaigns, we gave him a lot of money, a lot of taxpayers' money, we even campaigned for him, we sent our own prime cabinet secretary to go and head the campaigns. We even went there, we sent a lot of, you saw senators, CSs, you saw member of parliaments, you saw MCs there to support him, but he still lost. What does he want? You will still see people speak about the support Kenya Kwanza gave Raila, and Raila still lost. So we still expect, if at all Raila would speak of against the wrongs that the government would be doing, then we expect the government to also counter whatever he'll be speaking. And therefore, Ruto and Kenya Kwanza are going to have a tough work because they will be decampaigning Gachagua, what they've been doing all along, and also decampaigning Raila. So decampaigning two people who are forces. Very difficult.
And now, the voice of the Gen Z, we also had Gen Zs here when Raila came in, when we had the Gen Z protest and Raila came and quelled everything. And they say that Raila disrupted their revolution. A very sincere voice from a Gen Z. I had him say that with the blood that was poured of the Gen Zs, that Raila could not win. Does it mean when he comes, he will not be received well by the youth, or maybe who will be his supporters? And we know Gen Z's are wave right now in Kenyan politics.
Of course, the specific term they were using is betrayal. Raila betrayed us. And of course, we expect Raila to be welcomed by his supporters. There's a group of Raila supporters who are his diehards no matter what happens. Then there's that group of now Raila supporters who may be shifted and joined the Gen Z group. And there are also the Gen Z group which never supported any candidate anyway. There's this group who never voted. They never even had votes, and they didn't take part in the political, whatever happened in 2022. And this is the major group which was saying that Raila, in a way, betrayed them. I don't see a possibility of this group welcoming him back to the political terrain. Of course, there's a saying that this group have been saying, we want all of them to unite. Wacha mwingine asikue mbali waseme siji tulishindwa because so and so is away. We want them to unite so that we drain the swamp. That is the specific term they've been using. We drain the swamp and so that all of them go home. So there's this Gen Z wave, there's the Raila wave, there's the Wamunyoro wave, and then there's the Kenya Kwanza wave. So we have four waves here fighting against each other. The Gen Z wave is fighting both Raila wave, Kenya Kwanza wave, and Gachagua wave. The Gachagua wave is fighting the Kenya Kwanza wave, and they might really be interested in having Raila Odinga join them so that they fight together. The Raila Odinga wave is yet to define the serious or the exact wave they'll be fighting. Yeah.
Oh, sure. And I know it is a really tough time for President William Ruto right now, because I've seen him not take questions from the media. And I know there is a lot of things running through his mind right now that what will come next. But I'm very sure he will find out a way in which Raila gets some of the tasks, even in the AU or somewhere anywhere else. Even we have so many international organizations. I think Ruto is thinking about these ways that Raila might come into politics and maybe gain some influence and turn that crowd that is following Raila into following Ruto and voting Ruto 2027. Then Raila gets out of Kenyan politics. Is that very possible? Because Ruto is a disturbed man right now.
That is very possible. Remember, Ruto has lost the support of the Mount Kenya region, the region that seriously voted for him and ensured he became to power. In as much as people say there were irregularities and maybe he made his way through there, you can only do that if there are substantial votes for you to maybe play around with. So Mount Kenya votes played a key role. Now, without Mount Kenya in the picture, Ruto was seriously banking on Luo Nyanza. And because Luo Nyanza votes are not enough, he was also backing on the coastal region, which also supports Raila, and western region, because then with Mudavadi Wetangula in place, and now Raila, who divides that vote almost half or above it slightly, also in picture, then he was sure of western votes, Nyanza, Luo Nyanza votes, and then the coastal region votes. And then with that maybe added to his Rift Valley basket would be enough to propel him for the 2027 elections, maybe for his re-election. But now with Raila out of picture, because with him supporting Raila, and if Raila actually got this position, campaigning back home would be easier, because he would go to Nyanza and tell the Nyanza people, I took Baba to African Union. Baba is now the president of Africa. The same terms he would use in Coast, and we saw the same terms used during his Western tour, because you could even hear Mudavadi himself say that kuna mtu anaweza shinda muungano wa Ruto na Baba kweli na Raila kweli. So they were banking on that Raila support. So with Raila out and actually doing nothing, like there's nothing seriously keeping him busy, and whatever is keeping him busy is Kenyan politics, then Raila is a very dangerous man when it comes to Ruto's re-election. And therefore Ruto would do anything humanly possible to ensure that Raila is busy, and maybe he's somewhere very busy, so that he's out of the way
and gives him the voice of tough support.
Yes.
And let's look at Azimio coalition as maybe it has been, Kalonzo has been like the leader of this movement recently, as we all know, and we also recently that the court ordered that Azimio should take the majority position in the parliament, in the National Assembly. It was something that brought out a lot of fiery talks, because the Speaker of the National Assembly overruled this decision. And we know that Azimio and even Kalonzo himself was speaking about this, and it was like they'd rolled and run away from Azimio, and they're like coming together. Is it a possibility that these people will now come also to agreement with the Kalonzo Musyoka and join forces and fight the Kenya Kwanza government? Or what will happen? Or will they be forced to do away with Azimio coalition?
As it stands, the Azimio itself is threatened. The likes of Kalonzo, Wamalwa, that team is seriously threatened, because with Raila out of scene, they thought they would now take over and maybe they would be felt. But when Raila comes back, then it means they are not going to be felt that much. And therefore it means they might look for Raila so that they work together, because if Raila works alone, then Raila will be felt more than that team. And again, it is also a confusion, because Ruto is also a bit worried, because with that thing it means you saw what happened in the parliament, because those in the Azimio side actually they were together, they joined hands. Even those who had left, those who were perceived to have left, they joined hands and were fighting for this thing so that they be the majority. And so with Raila back, if he's not busy, then it is going to be so technical, because he is going to fight for his rightful position in the Kenyan politics. And that is going to make things shift, both in the opposition sphere and in the ruling coalition sphere. Raila's coming back is going to make the Kenyan politics has a drastic shift. Yes.
And to our audience, politics is taking different shapes day and day, and we're waiting to see which people will get to reach out to Raila Amolo Odinga, the ones who will be consoling him if need will be, those will be speaking about the elections and what will be next for the country, especially the big wings in politics, people like Kalonzo, people like Gachagua, people like William Ruto, what he'll have to say, even the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. Let's wait and see. You can also share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe to DMP Kenya and share and like our videos. Thank you.